And I think there is a technical glitch because he has not joined us yet. And we have got Professor Gamini Ranasinghe from Sri Lanka. He is the second invited speaker in the technical session today. And we have Professor Gamini Ranasinghe. Are you ready? Yes. Welcome to our day.
Thank you so much.
And, we are happy to have you here on this platform. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for your invitation.
And now I request convener, Mr. Binoy Bormon, to welcome Professor Gamini Ranasinghe.
Thank you.
Over to Binoy Bormon. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Within a short time, we will start today's technical session. Now I request to Professor Gamini Ranasinghe. He is a professor of History and Archaeology, Sri Jayawardhanapura University, Sri Lanka. Thank you, sir. You will start your lecture.
Yes. Okay. So please, I need your help. So how I share my PPT to all? Yes. Sir, I need to share my.
Yes, you can share.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now it's processing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think, sir, can you see my screen? Okay. So good morning, everyone, and it's really happy to talk with you and share our archaeological remains. Also, I have to give the special thanks to the Telangana province because I got this opportunity when I visit there. I met several scholars from West Bengal. So thanks to all. So my topic is Rajagar Monastery in Sri Lanka and the Indian cultural relation because you know very well we have good relations with India and Sri Lanka. Now I am going to tell you two kind of relation, and first one ancient relation and the present relation. So I'm Professor Gamini Ranasinghe, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, History and Archaeology Department. So I want to say that what is the Rajagala, because it's very new for you, and but you have good relation with us. So this is the site, and the Rajagala name come from it is like 1 century ago, but the ancient name it is Giri Kumbile. Giri Kumbile is a crocodile. It's the ancient people called the Crocodile Mountain. So you can see that this mountain shape like the laying one of crocodile. So that's why they say the crocodile mountain. It's a Giri Kumbila. So this is the press. It's your country, India, and my tiny country, Sri Lanka. So this is the site, the Ampara district in the eastern province in Sri Lanka. So this is the huge area. And some details. That's the biggest archaeological monastery site in Sri Lanka. It's more than 1,025 acres, and it is 346 high. There are large number of archaeological sites we found over last 5 years. So it is more than 1,000 archaeological site. And it has more than 2,300 history. But according to the invention of South India and other internal matter, political issues, so this site disappeared more than 800 years. And after that, we started working with Indian support. So that's why I say that we have good relation between India and Rajagala. Actually, this is a project led by Department of Archaeology, that's state government, and my university, University of Sri Jayawardena. So first of all, I would like to get your consent to archaeological remains in my site. So the first picture, it is ancient rock art, the prehistoric rock art, but actually we don't have the calculation of the time. But it is rock art and the prehistoric rock art. And after that, all the picture belong to the historical period. It is like 1,800 to 1,500, sorry, 1,300, 2,200 to 1,500 at that time era. We have a large number of paintings and the cave. So it's an important place in Sri Lanka. This is the only one place we can see that ancient architecture and the cave architecture in Sri Lanka in only this place. So still these caves remain. We believe that it is more than 1,800 years. And we lost only door frame and the window frame only because it's made by wood. So the ant and insects, they according to their activities. So we lost that frames, but all the structure is still remain. So this is very important in Sri Lankan history, in Sri Lankan Buddhist history, especially Buddhist archaeology, how they build the monastery, the shell in the cave. Because normally we can see this kind of caves over the island, but not like this one. So that's why at the beginning I said it's the most important site in Sri Lanka to study over last 2,200 years. It's a long era. More than 800 maybe, or more than that, there are activity of Buddhist monk. And the large number of kings, they help give the patronage to develop this monastery, because this is the huge one, the biggest one in Sri Lanka. And at this moment, we identified more than 1,000 sites within the 1,000 hectares. So now we are having some conservation, excavation, and exploration activities on the site. I think in very recently, it will be nominated as a World Heritage Site in Sri Lanka. Now it's on process. So some archaeological relation we have with India. This Bo tree sharing, and like Srima Bodhi in India, and Bodh Gaya also another we have. So we followed some of similar structure from India. And number of unidentified building we conserve now. And also this is another important one side, Victory Hall, Alms Hall. And this is the only one sample that's rounded shape in Sri Lanka. But I don't know that. I have visited large number of sites in India. I couldn't find these shapes. But in Sri Lanka also, we have only this site. And also we have the watch, the sundial here. You can see, because according to the Vinaya, the monk should be followed the time to have to go their dinner. So lunch, they are not having dinner, so lunch. So this is a sundial, and it's like a watch. At that time, they don't have every hour watch, so they followed this one. And not in Sri Lanka, over the world, this kind of sundial have been used. So now already conserved this site, and so another thing, I think in India also this kind of architectural remains, we can see this built for drinking purpose for the Buddhist monk, more than 500 or more than that. Buddhist monks were there at that time, because we have some written evidence. So there are the large-scale two walls made by stone. So they receive water from the natural water stream. So wonderful thing is still that streams are activating, and we working nearly 200 workers, including the officers. Still, we are having our drinking water from that streams. Still working very well without any disturbance. Over the year, it's giving water for us. So it's wonderful. Now this site totally conserved. And this site located in the dry zone in Sri Lanka is eastern forest, very dry. They have only having the water, the training period only 2 months per year. So at that time they have to store the water as much as they can for use the other dry time, dry season. So there is a one small scale tank at the middle of the site. It's an unfinished Buddhist statue. It's a big one. Somehow they couldn't finish this work. And I think we had several inventions from South India. And they defeated our kings and killed king, and they acquire some time, and they lost the country. We have the big political history. I know, something like. So I am now coming to very important point, the relation with India. So before that, now very newly we consider this stupa pagoda. It is, I think, when you see this one, you can remember stupa and pagoda in Sanchi, India. So we follow the same tradition, and this very ancient, and no one touched. And it was the virgin type when we go to site 5-6 years ago. Now it's already conserved, and some of other stupas, pagodas, being conserved, and within another 2 years we can see the beautiful site. So I would like to stop several minutes with this stupa. This is the most valuable stupa in the site to say something in relation between Sri Lanka and India. So this stupa built for the remains of Arahat Mahinda, the son of great empire Ashoka in India. You already know his son and daughter, the Arahat Mahinda and Sanghamita. They came to Sri Lanka with Buddhism. So, but we don't have enough records. What happened after that? Then they died here, or they live again our country to India, or anything. But we found archaeological evidence. He died in Sri Lanka. He never back to India in his the India. And after that, the lay people, they built this stupa with Arahat Mahinda's ash and remains. So this is the archaeological evidence. You know that this inscription is more than 2,300 years old, or like that. So it's very clearly mentioned in the Brahmi inscription. I think you can read too, because at that time, your inscription and our inscription, the pattern is the same, the character same. Maybe the very few characters quite different, but other thing very same. So, ye imadipa patamaya idiya agatana idika tera mahida teraha tube. It is mean like, this is the stupa of the elder Idika and the elder Mahinda, who come to this island by programs the good fertilizer vaccinates, and to give the Buddhism and other the light in the plus thing to Sri Lanka, and they build a new era, build a new culture. So that's why they built this pagoda for in the Rajagara. So this is the only one and the most strong archaeological evidence that related to Arhat Mahinda and India-Sri Lanka relation. So still, we can see this inscription very close to that pagoda. It's like 3 to 5 meters from Stupa. So we don't have any doubt that's belong to Mahinda or not. So very clearly we can say this is the Mahinda Stupa. So it's only one stupa we can see in Sri Lanka, and he's the person who light in the country, the new light. He give the new light, new power, new culture 2,300 years ago. And after that, what happened to the site? And we built another relation with India. And from 2016 and 18 and 19, unfortunately, this year we couldn't do anything because the COVID-19. And this is the person who come from India, and Professor Vasant Sinde, former Vice Chancellor Deccan College, and Haryana University, and Delhi University, IISER, and other several universities from India. They contributed to excavation and exploration, also conservation conservation work in our site. So some of pictures I would like to share with you, and some Indian delegation who visited 3 times in Sri Lanka, and they were here nearly one month for one time. It's totally 3 months we completed for 3 sessions, and we had the these some pictures. Maybe you can see that our professors was Sinde here. And this is the excavation. That's the largest cave in the site, because the Mahalena, and we had the 3 excavation season and 3 years. And this is the site, and we found a huge number of archaeological remains, prehistory to historical era. This is some remains found in the excavation and around the excavation. And several thousand of stone tools and some animal bones and human bones we found from this site, and still analyzing that artifact, and we don't have yet the time calculation, and we are expecting very recently we will receive the final carbon dating the reports. So this is the animal they have used to their daily consumption, and the wonderful thing is this all animal is still we can see around this Rajagala, the forest. It's a huge forest. No any human activities within the 5-6 kilometers. That this kind of animal still we can see in there. And some fish, they have the site located in the middle of country, but they have used, they have eaten or they have exchanged some seafood and freshwater fish and some sales for their daily life. Also, this all the fish are very traditional, but still we can find around that monastery site that in the freshwater. Also, this kind of sea and forest cell. Also, some fruit, yams, and nuts. We calculate with the Deccan College, and we have 25 kinds of fruit and nuts that can be directly eaten as a daily life. Also, nearly 8 to 10 yams, and the large number of medicine and some leaves. It's like the big food storage in this mountain. So it's easy to live several people, several families, the big group, depending on the natural substances. And that's why it was a prehistoric site. And after that, it's converted into Buddhist monastery. So now, no Buddhist monastery or the human habitation. Just only we have the prehistoric evidence and the evidence related to the Buddhist era. So this site will be nominated as a World Heritage Site in Sri Lanka very recently. Now the application and all the method now it's activating, and I have to give the big thanks to Indian scholars. The large number of scholars they help to us, and still they are helping us to develop this site and as a archaeological site, as a hermit site, meditation site, also the tourist destination. That's why I want to share with you an ancient relation and new relation between Sri Lanka and India. Because I want to explain the one thing why I try to get the Indian support, because this site, some of and archaeological remains, we can see that it is very similar to the Indian culture. Indian architecture, and also one of great Indian persons, two persons ash or sacred remains is still we can see in the site. So that's why we have good collaboration research between Indian several universities and Sri Lanka. So thank you so much to giving this opportunity to present this one. And if there anything to know more, so I am available here to answer you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. We are enriched. Today is a glorious day. As we have the next research master. He is my teacher. At present, he is the associate professor in the Department of History in Alipurduar College. Welcome, sir. I request you deliver your lecture. And one interesting thing, one of the famous scholar in sub-Himalayan region, especially in North Bengal and Northeast India. Thank you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Audible?
Audible?
Am I visible?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So, thanks are due to the organizers for having offered me the opportunity to participate in this webinar on Indian influence on South Asian culture and heritage. My topic is features of Indian culture, challenge and response, and comparative impact in the course of history or in the perspective of history. There are 3 parts, and due to paucity of time, as it is in fact constrained in case of seminars or webinar, whatever, I like to concentrate myself on the first part of the topic, that is features of Indian culture. Right in the beginning, there comes the question, how to define Indian culture? What is Indian culture? Because Indian culture, more or less, has been, it has undergone changes throughout the ages. There is a difference between Indian classical culture and folk culture. That's why it's very difficult to figure out what is Indian culture. And then to find out the impact of Indian culture is really further more difficult. Whatever it is, having said all this, I like to point out that there have been some salient features of Indian culture from the remote past to the present. And these salient features really left impact not only on South Asian culture and heritage, rather on the whole of the culture of Asia as well as of the world. One by one, I shall point out the important features of Indian culture and then give some narrative. The first contribution in the field of culture that India made to the world, as well as to Asia or South Asia today, it was the science of meditation and yoga. Out of the artifacts found in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, specifically Mohenjo-daro, we find the figure of Shiva in meditation, that is called Pushupati Shiva. And he is in yogic posture. He is sitting in a particular posture, either Siddhasana or Yogasana or say Padmasana, whatever it is, he is in yogic posture. So it is proved that from the very earliest time of Indian civilization, India developed the concept of meditation along with that yoga. Meditation is the science of harmonizing the human mind with the body, harmonizing the human being and human consciousness with the laws of the outside world. That is the process that was first begun in India. The basic concept of science, that meditation, then in fact led to the discoveries and inventions in different fields in course of time. These first was against India and also in the earliest period. Then we find the yoga. Yoga, in fact, is a science of harmonizing the functions of different limbs of the human body, as well as harmonizing the mind and the body, harmonizing the mind, the body with the laws of nature. So this is yoga. And we find these two things, meditation and yoga, combined together, gave birth to the very idea of the earliest spiritualism in the world. And in course of time, we find the concept of Shiva, through further elaboration, modification, and changes, gave birth to an universal ideal of Sattam, Shivam, Sundaram. Sattam means universal laws, that is Shivam. The concept, Sattam, in fact, it is not just this moral truth. The truth is that Sattam is truth. Truth is that things exist, the world exists, the universe exists. All through changes, existence remains intact. So this is the truth. And second part, Shivam. Shivam, in fact, laws of the universe, laws of the biological world, laws of existence all together are called Shivam. So Sattam, Shivam, then come Sundaram. Sundaram means one who has realized Sattam, one who has been following Shivam, can follow the Simam Gunam of human life. He is capable of realizing the highest truth in life. That's why this ideal of Sattam, Shivam, Sundaram, that once was begun with the people of Indus Valley civilization, in course of time, through further elaboration, modification, and changes, this became an ideal of spirituality. But the very term spirituality, if I bring it as the second point of salient features, that we get more or less in a better way from the Vedic civilization. In the Rig Veda, we find the concept of Rita. Rita means universal order, the order by which the heavenly bodies are moving in the sky, the order by which the oceans are maintained, the order by which the wind is maintained, the order by which this physical world, biological world, and the world of consciousness move on. So that is Rita. It's a very vast thing. Along with that, the Vedic people developed the concept of biocentrism. that in the 20th century, we find the best scientists of the world nowadays thinking about the biocentrism. But this very concept was developed first in India in the Vedic period, and it is clearly stated, Jodidam kincha ipa prano ajudinisitam. Whatever is there in the form of life is out of life and is vibrating in life. So we find the whole cosmos, the whole world, the whole biosphere, in fact, out of life, it is vibrating in life. So it is cosmic consciousness that they develop. There they develop the concept of pure consciousness, that is Atman or Jivatma. And then this Jivatma, they considered as the unit of consciousness in a human being. And along with that, they developed the concept of Brahma, that is universal consciousness. So these four things, that is Rita, that is number two, biocentrism, number three, that is combining these two things together, they found the existence of consciousness in human being that they call Jivatma or Atma. And then they thought about universal consciousness and the relation between this individual consciousness and universal consciousness. They exposited on the basis of meditation, on the basis of sadhana. And they, in fact, came to the conclusion that there is no difference between individual consciousness and universal consciousness. It is just like the difference between a bubble of water and the ocean itself. So, whereas this individual consciousness is the bubble of water and universal consciousness is the ocean. So, this way we find what the Indians developed at that time, in fact, was the basic structure of spiritualism, and it was first in the world. And this way or that way influenced the whole world, the entire humanity. The third contribution of India to world civilization, perhaps in no other country in such a way it was exposited, it was discussed, or it was practiced, that is non-violence. Along with the birth of Buddhism and Jainism, we find the very concept of non-violence came forward. And Buddha first accepted the existence of pain and suffering in the world. That was a part of the Four Noble Truths. But on the basis of that in order to minimize suffering in the world, he told about the Karuna, that is universal compassion. And that Karuna or universal compassion is only the way to help, succor, and to stand by the suffering people, suffering beings of the world. So the concept of non-violence was developed in India. And this concept of non-violence spread nearly to the whole of Asia by the Greco-Buddhists up to the Mediterranean Sea, and by the Indian Buddhists in different periods in early times to China, Korea, Mongolia, Japan, and to the Southeast Asian country, including Sri Lanka, though it is just in South Asia. So we find the very concept of non-violence became rather the message of India to the whole world and humanity. And even in the recent past, we find the apostle of non-violence was Mahatma Gandhi, and his birthday, 2nd October, is observed as the International Day of Non-Violence in the whole world. I missed one point, that is the number one point that India contributed, this idea of yoga, and now you know it very well that this yoga is also now observed and accepted by the entire humanity, and the 21st June every year is now the International Day of Yoga. So it's a victory of Indian spiritualism, victory of India's yoga, victory of India's concept and the message of peace and non-violence to the whole world. Now, the next point that I have to bring forward is India's concept of coexistence and toleration. It is the only country where these two things were in fact brought forward for better human life, better human society, better state system, and interstate relations. That is, in India, we find it was the first country to give the idea that there is hardly any difference between the living beings of the world, between two human beings, between men and women, and that way we find that the question of coexistence comes in case of maintaining relations between communities, among the nations. That is, there are different kinds of people came to India. The Greeks came to India, who are now known as the Javans in India. There came the Shakas, the Kushanas, so many other people, even the Huns came to India. They mingled with the people of India. That's why Rabindranath Tagore, he told that Aharapato Auhan Pracharita Sunito Udaravani, that he told that's this precious message of India to humanity, allowed other people to come to this country and settle here and become one and mingle with the people of India. That is the message of India. That's peaceful coexistence. In Buddhism, we find that the Panchashila, this also has been along this line of mutual coexistence, toleration. That's now this Panchashila are much talked about in the whole world in case of bilateral relations between two countries or multilateral relations or trilaterals, whatever. This message was from India, this message of Panchashila. Why? Because it was in India. It was clearly stated, Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam. That is, the whole world, all people of the world are in fact our kith and kins. None is different. It is again told in the Veda that whatever is there in the universe is in fact the reflection of Brahma. Sarvam Kullidam Brahma. That's why Brahma is there in the body of a Muslim, in the body of a Sikh, in the body of a Hindu, and whatever. So it was India to give the concept of toleration to the whole world. This message, in fact, the deepest message, and this has to be maintained in today's world full of violence, terrorism, this and that. So this ancient message of India is still relevant in the present world in order to bring out peace, maintain peaceful world. So this is that. So Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam, this has to be maintained this way. Moreover, India gave the message that is Jatra Jiva Tatra Shiva. Wherever there is life, wherever there is being, there is a Shiva. So you cannot ignore Shiva. Whether one is a Muslim, whether one is a Christian, if you are in fact is a reflection of Shiva, peaceful coexistence. This is in fact a vital message given by India to the entire human community. Next point I like to highlight that there has been all the time the fight between religion and so-called organized religions and science. But in India, there was no problem. In India, we find rather India was the first country in the world to give the concept of evolution. In Europe, we find when Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer gave forward this concept of biological evolution and Herbert Spencer of physical evolution. They are challenged by the clergy. They had to fight against them. The same way Galileo had to fight. Copernicus could not publish his book as long as he lived. So these problems are there. But India, never. In India, we find the very concept of evolution had been given to humanity long time ago. Who did it? That is Maharishi Kapila. He gave the concept of evolution and nicely analyzed in his philosophy that is called Shankar philosophy. The people in the field of philosophy know it very well. There we find that sequences, how this universe gradually emerged. The sequences, how then this biological world emerged. The sequences, how the world of consciousness emerged. So in India, to accept this concept of evolution, there is no problem because it was already there. For the Christians, the problem was there. For the Muslims and the Jews also, because the problem, the Abrahamic religion, they believed in the concept of the genesis of the Bible, that just in 6 days God created this world. He told, let there be light, and there was light. Let there be water, there was water, like this. But in India, it was not like that. Here we find the theory of evolution. So no conflict between the spiritualists and the scientists. Next, the point that is very, very important. That is, India in the field of astronomy, we find India gave the world a very nice thought, which at the same time, to some extent, developed in other countries. But the most important contribution of India made to humanity was these numerals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, shunna. And these numerals were so important that without this, no computation, no calculation was possible. That is why Sir Albert Einstein says that India gave us the knowledge how to count, how to compute the decimal system. And for centuries, the Western world have known that these are Arabic numerals. Now they know that these numerals are in fact Indian numerals. Sorry. Now, how this happened? Why this misnomer Arabic numerals? Because in the 8th and 9th century, we find that was established the Bayat al-Hikmah, the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. Harun al-Rashid of the Abbasid dynasty did it. And there was one scientist, his name was Al-Kharizmi, and he learned things of the numerals and calculations, this and that from the Indian teachers. And he wrote one book. The name of the book was Al-Joritmi di Numero Indoram. So what happened? This book became popular in the whole of Europe, and Al-Kharizmi was an Arab, so they considered as if all these are Arabic, but not. Al-Kharizmi on the numerals of the Indians. Al-Joritmi di Numero Indoram, that is India. So they missed the point. Anyway, now it is accepted and even shortened. The writer of the history of science clearly narrated how this was transmitted to Europe and how the entire humanity became benefited by this Indian discovery or invention, whatever. It is really a complicated thing. Whether zero was a discovery or an invention. Very difficult. We are not going into that debate, but this was contribution of India. In some other fields also we find the basic contributions India made which remain unique, say in the field of art and architecture, in the field of art, which you see that Indian art all the time has been idealistic, Greek, Roman art all the time realistic. And this idealistic art, in fact, served the purpose in India. And that is why we find that Indian art is so much symbolic that one has to know first the meaning of the symbol and then find out the exact meaning of that image. Say the image of Saraswati. It is worshipped as the goddess of knowledge, learning, this and that. It is not at all for worship. If we analyze a Saraswati, you will find just a science there lying, and how to become a good student, how to learn things. All these things are lying there in this white color of Saraswati. Then in the swan she is riding on, and then on the lyre she is playing. And all these things, if analyzed, you will find a beautiful concept how one can become a very good learner. This way we find that Indian art developed on the basis of Saranga. These Saranga, in fact, are idealistic viewpoints. I'm not going to elaborate all these things. So this Saranga, in fact, brought together the artist sense of nature, and there is one point, Sadrisha. Sadrisha means that these limbs of human body are not according to the model of a human being. The Sadrisha means this first point is the Rupa Veda. That's one point of this Saranga. A little bit. Rupa Veda, then Pramana, then it comes to the point of Sadrisha, then Lavanya Jojana, then Burnika Bhanga, then Bhava. All these points are there in Indian art. So this point Sadrisha, in fact, suppose the size of the nose. Whose nose is better? Whose nose the artist will try to depict in painting or give the modeling in sculpture? Nobody's nose is model. Nobody's eyes are models. Nobody's facial shape is model. Nobody is happy with his face. This is the world. Look at your face in the mirror and you are not satisfied. So the Indian art did not like to reflect this human model in painting or in sculpture. So they wanted to find out beautiful models in nature, just like this. Suppose that what should be the size of the nose, they found it in the beak of vulture. So it should be like that. The shape of the eyes, they told it bow-shaped eyes. So like this, so many other things, there is no time to explain all this. So the point is that Indian art is idealistic. And this art influenced nearly the whole of Southeast Asia, Far East, as along with Buddhism, this Indian art idioms, Indian art philosophy went to them, and you will find it. Say, Tibetan art. If you see the fingers of any female figure in Tibetan art, you will find the fingers just like the imitation of the fingers of women that we find in Ajanta. The same model. The appearance of Buddha in meditation, all these things. These all are according to Indian Shilpa Shastra. You can say about this Gandhar school of art. The Gandhar school of art, these are, in fact, of course, Greek influence was there. But the artists were Greco-Buddhists. They wanted to make the figure of Buddha. And to what happened? Unconsciously, they brought this realistic model, but in course of time, this was in fact given up. And we find in the art of Mathura and Saranath, for Badut and Tamravati, the structures are totally different as per the system mentioned in Indian Shilpa Shastra. So this unique Indian art in the whole world, and this way we find that it left impact on the whole of Asia. And if you now go to the best museums of the world, you will find that the models of Indian art seen there and hardly can be imitated without knowing the Indian Shilpa Shastra. Then come to the concept of music. In India, music developed from the very period of the Samaveda. Sama, Gita, Gita means Sangit, means music. Sam plus Gita, that is Sangita. It developed here in India. Samved was recited along with the musical tunes. So this developed. In course of time, we find that three types of music developed in India. One is Bhatta, that is instrumental music. That is on Gita, that is vocal music. And another music is very important, but anyone they can raise a question whether that one also a music or not. What is that? Music of the body. And that the music of the body, in fact, is dance. So we find that in Indian Shilpa Shastra, the music of the body, in fact, is interpreted as dance. So the writing of Bharatman, we find the same thing. So along with the music, now there are two types of music. You know it very well, that North Indian music, otherwise called Hindustani music, and South Indian music, Carnatic music, and we find that Indian music are in fact dominant, and they are the that is rather carried on on the three vehicles. That is Shura, that is a melody, that is a rago, that is what should I say? That is symphony and piece together, and that is talo, that is maintenance of particular piece for the duration of time. Is talo. So Shura, rago, and talo. This type of development, that is the performing side is there, performance is there, but along with that theory. So it's a composite whole Indian music that influenced Persian music and also the music of whole of South Asia. Wherever practice in the field of music is going on, we will find that is the impact of Indian music, this way or that way. And what I told about the dance of the body, that music of the body, that is dance. And dance also, specifically Indian dance is unique. The six classical Indian dance, that is Kathak, Kathakoli, Kanchipuri, Bharatanatyam, Odissi, and Manipuri. And there are so many mixtures. Suppose Kathak plus Kathakoli, Kathak plus Bharatanatyam, Bharatanatyam plus Odissi, mixture. Like this, that our Rabindranath Tagore wanted to combine Manipuri and some systems of Odissi. And mudras are there. These mudras are more or less invariably the same in all the schools of dance that follow. So Indian dance. Now in Bollywood, you may say that that dance is different. No, this combined, combinations, mixture. This is that. And now this Indian music being practiced in the West. Indian dance is being practiced around the globe. Why only South Asia? The whole world is practicing it. Whole world is practicing yoga. Whole world talks about non-violence. The whole world now talks about mutual coexistence, toleration. The whole world talks about meditation. So it's a composite whole that is Indian culture. It not only influenced South Asia, not only the whole of Asia. That's Edwin Arnold's book, The Light of Asia, just considering the impact of Buddhism on Asia. We find this rather the whole world. That's why J.P. Single's book, very, very important, that's contribution of India to the growth of science in the whole world. That's why we find that Will Durant, his book, The Story of Civilization, we find the volume 9 by Will Durant, that is our Oriental heritage. There we find mainly Indian heritage and also Chinese heritage. But again, impact of China, impact of India on China, Japan, and Far East and Southeast Asia. So India is a unique country in the whole world, having impact in the different fields, influence in different fields. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative and brilliant lecture. And now we are going to take questions on these two papers presented by Professor Gamini Ranasinghe and Dr. Shoilen Devnath. And now we are going to take questions. If you have any question, you can ask. The papers of Professor Gamini Ranasinghe.
Hello.
Yes, go on, please.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Somalu, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
you are audible.
This is Basanta Barman from Kolkata.
Okay.
My question is to Professor Gamini Ranasinghe, sir. And this is actually out of today's topic, out of his topic. I just want to know about Bijoy Singho, the Bengali king who ruled in Sri Lanka. I request him to say something about Bijoy Singho.
No, I don't have a clear idea about that actually. I don't know much that. I'm very sorry. Because we don't have enough records about that. I'm not sure. Actually, I can't give the answer to you.
Actually, sir, the ancestral house of Bijoy Singho, sir, ancestral house of Bijoy Singho is almost 80 kilometers away from Kolkata in Hooghly.
Yes, I know that it is in the Kotte era, but actually I didn't touch to this kind of topics or the era. I'm very sorry, sir.
Yes. So,
No, it's okay, sir. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
in fact, if you
Okay, sir,
talk
thank you.
about, may I just, in fact, when you talk about the Bijoy has traveled to
Yes,
Sri Lanka.
Yes.
And yes, we have lots of literary reference. You go for Mahabhangsha, Dipavangsha, Rajballiya, all talks about this. But when we come to the archaeological
Sorry.
evidences,
You were the Vijay or Vijay?
Vijaya.
Oh, very sorry. I like Vijay Singh. It is. I was confused.
It is
No, Vijay
sorry,
you are
Sri Lanka is called Singhal.
Yeah.
This is yes, but the documentation on the archaeological remains, if you ask, in Sri Lanka, then we don't get this.
Yes.
So we don't have material evidence about it, but we do have literary.
Yeah, so many literature. Actually, I'm very sorry. I couldn't understand the name because of pronunciation. It is Vijay. We call it Vijay. We have large number of evidence. But it is historically limited.
Yes, Bashanto. In fact, when you look at the literature, that also you have to understand in many aspects, So it's not that one name meaning just to one person. It also have lots of different historical, indication. We have to look at that way also. Whatever, the Professor Gamini's paper was good. But I just need to ask you one small question. That when we're talking about Rajagala and Rajagala having a prehistoric evidences, right?
So many.
I just want to inform you also that I'm from Deccan College as well. So, so the thing is, your prehistoric evidences, and then you come to the our early historic, like Buddhist.
Yes, same side.
Buddhist stupas and Tuparamas and all this.
Yes.
So, prehistoric to Buddhist, and then you do not have any later habitation, as you said.
No, yes, only just about 1,600 or 800. Up to that, the Buddhist habitation, it is, not the
It was
normal.
continuing. So you have a continuous habitation.
No, just only the 1,200 is up to Polonnaru period. After that, we can't see. It's more than 800 years. It is belong to the forest. 800 years.
Okay. So last 800 years is not, no, after the Polonnaru period, you do not have anything.
Madam, after invasion of Kalingamaga, he invaded all the country. So after that, everything collapsed.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was, I just was a little bit wanted to be clear. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So, madam, actually, at the beginning, I couldn't hear very well the name Vijay. Actually, we have the large number of literature evidence about the Vijay, and his and this 700 people came in Sri Lanka and habitated, and he got married, and the many things, the huge the data we have.
Yes.
But archaeological remains very less.
We don't have, right. Sure, yeah, I know that, yeah.
I'm sorry for that because I could misunderstand.
No, it's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, madam. So, sir?
Yeah.
Next question. Is there any other question from anyone?
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Yes, madam.
Whom do you want to
Yeah, Professor Kamini Ranasinghe, my question for you. This is Ashmita Shikhar. I'm a student of Deccan College.
Okay.
So I just want to ask you that the stupa which you showed us as that of Mahindra.
Yes.
It was quite different from the stupas that we see in India, having a lot of stone piles arranged. So can you just comment on the architectural speciality of that stupa?
Yeah, madam, in Sri Lanka, we have several kind of stupa model in the material, raw material. You know, the people, they use the material according to their environment. In Jaffna, we have the coral, and in many places. So in Rajagala, we have two kind of stupa. That brick stupa pagoda, I said earlier, also that one. So it is very common in eastern province in Sri Lanka, this kind of pagoda. They gathered that some rubble and built the stupa. Maybe at that time it should be like more beauty. But at this moment we can see more than nearly 100 stupa. We can found that area, the same type. So it's no need to worry about the type. I think Indian also, there are several types of stupa. It's no endemic or no permanent shape. So they build what they like, what they want. They are variety in Myanmar and other Buddhist country also. We can't find the actual or the permanent shape. It is depend on the raw material that they can find.
There. Yeah, you are right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, I visited several times in Deccan College, and I was several months. So it's a nice place. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
So Deccan College is our energy. So the most of scholars who joined with us from Deccan College.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Any other question from anyone?
Sir, I have one question for, not questions, but sir, it's for Salient, sir. Sir, just myself, sir, S.K. Riyazul Midde from Sri Rampur Girls College, Department of History. So my question is, Professor Salient Devnath. Sir, just want to query that how much influence the dance form on South Asian countries. You just mentioned so many dance forms, our Indian dance form. Just I want to know, because I had a keen interest on cultural history. So that's why I want to know how much influence on Southeast Asian countries of our Indians dance.
Professor Shankar.
I think question not for me.
No, it is Professor Shankar.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. It's audible, sir. You are audible, sir.
Hello?
Not clear.
I think there is a technical glitch.
Am I audible?
I think Sir doesn't have the internet problem.
There is a problem with the internet connection or microphone.
Am I audible?
Sir, you are not properly audible.
Riazul, can I get your question again?
Yes, I'm still in the
Can I get your
Am I
question? As you are saying that the form of performing forms, like the dance form, you are asking.
Just a dance form. So how much influence is there in Southeast Asian countries?
Huge. In one word, it is huge.
The impact of India was in two phases. So the impact was in two phases, and then you can find out.
Sir, we are not hearing you clearly.
Internet connections is not properly coming.
Maybe the connection problem, yes.
Okay, sir, we can talk to. We can talk. Let's move forward.
I'll just give you a little.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
To reply your question, one is like if you go to Indonesia, Malaysia, and Bali, like these areas, so you get lots of similarities with the South Indian performances, as well as from like all the Malacca Strait. You go to Thailand, Myanmar, you have a mixed kind of performing styles. You do have South Indian, you do have North Indian. North Indian dance forms and the South Indian dance forms you all get there. Even the chow dance, the Kathak and all, you get some kind of an influence on that Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia in these sides. So the performing arts is not only the literature, also the performing style of the dance performing or other performance, the theatrical performance. Even they have the puppet show or kind of a stick dance and all these performances. There are a lot of evidence, a lot of influence you can see. If once you are seeing that, you will very much you will understand. Once you are watching a performance, you will understand the Indian influence very much. Okay,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So right from Myanmar to Philippines and to Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, you get the lots of influence, Indian influence in the performances. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. And now our next resource person is Dr. Shankar Das. He is going to present his paper. Dr. Shankar Das is an associate professor in the Department of History, Bankura University. Dr. Shankar Das, I'll request you to present your paper. Sir.
Thank you. Namaskar, everyone. It is a great honor for me to be the of the international event organized by the Department of History and UAC, Saldiha College, Bankura, Bengal. I would like to thank the team to invite me as a resource person for the conference. In this pandemic situation, it is the best way to communicate through virtual world. The online e-conference brings us together, although not physically, but emotionally. We are together in this lockdown because of this virtual world. Thanks everyone for making me part of it. Title of my paper, The Mahisho Movement in Midnapur and its Influence on Culture and Politics in Bengal, 1897 to 1931. The history of Midnapur, particularly of its south and southwest regions, is in one respect the history of one movement in many respects. It is mostly the history of the movement of the Mahishoj, a caste community, for establishing their caste position and for cultural assertion and also for political resurgence. The Mahishoj claimed that they were a pure caste from time immemorial. They were all along a land holding and land occupying cultivating people, divided mostly in three classes, namely landlords, tenants, and agricultural laborers. The socioeconomic setup of the community before the colonial rule was mostly quite classic. But in the first quarter of the 19th century, some very important effective changes took place in the landholding and educational spheres, which made the upper section of the Mahisho community feel that their caste identity and social position were not commensurate with their economic position. The genesis of the Mahisho movement. Some great factors prompted the Mahishoj to fix their caste identity and to establish their respectable position in the Brahman, Ayasto, Vaidya dominated Hindu society. This was so because the high caste people often cited the Mahishoj, however, honored, wealthy, and aristocratic. They were as Chaka, that is, Bipali. To ward off the slighting attacks, the Mahisho Jamindars of Midnapur, along with those of Barisal, Pabna, Faridpur, and Dhaka, took some bold ventures. In a meeting held on the ground in the district of Midnapur, they formed the Jati Nidharone Sabha 1897 and resolved to carry on research on the origin of the Mahishoj and on their present status in the Hindu society, and thereby to draw the attention of the government in respect of attaining their caste status in the upper section of the Hindu society. As a result of these measures, the caste identity agitation became a vigorous movement. In 1901, the Jati Nidharone Sabha founded Bangyo Mahisho Samiti in Calcutta. Shortly afterwards, a good number of Mahisho Samitis sprung up in some districts in Bengal. In the first report of 1911, the superintendent of census operation wrote, identity agitation was carried on with great energy by committees formed by influential persons. The superintendent also that the agitation was founded with evidences from Hindu Shastras and with the opinions of the Pandits of some colleges of Bengal. In the context of the caste identity agitation, the census of 19 1911 decided to categorize the Indian population in terms of caste and to give due consideration to the Mahishya caste question. The census also made it clear that the use of the term Mahishya is confined to the Chasi Koivotkoj only and not to any other caste contending the Mahishya designation. Indeed, this was success of the Mahishya movement. Since March 11, 1911, the Mahishya movement went on advancing with enthusiasm. The Chasi Koivotkoj now felt sure of their attaining a separate caste status and of obtaining step upward in the ladder of the society and of warding off the ignominy no church here. It was at this stage of their advancement the Mahishya leaders particular care for the state of education and for the economic advancement of the community. So the things are set up in their respective estates, primary, middle school, and in school. They encourage Mahishya students to set sail for foreign lands to study law, engineering, and medicine. For the improvement of agriculture, the Mahishya leaders took initiative in setting up an agriculture association in Bengal. Besides, they also set up the Mahishya Banking and Trading Company to assist the Mahishya with business loans and with advice. The British rule and Western education and the spread of Western ideas of the representative form of government made the Mahishya community politically agile. The Renaissance Mahishya community of Midnapur now came to the forefront during all the anti-partition movement of Bengal, the corporate movement, the Lotagro, and the Koi movement. The classification of the Mahishya community began in the last quarter of the 19th century. In a few years, it spread in almost all the 27 districts of the undivided Bengal. And gradually, it took the character of a social revolt. This rule the Senate designed its administration based at the award of the difference between the rulers and the ruled. Their difference of interest. So the Mahishya, along with all other people of Bengal, vehemently protest against the partition of Bengal. Enthusiastically participated in the anti-partition movement, sold on annual the party. The movement of the people, the collapse of anti-partition movement, that they should win one day. During the non-violent movement, they came forward and fought heroically, but they were this of the role of the movement. If higher journalism did not, it became ablaze with double force during the civil disobedience. Gandhi put new hopeful to their new hopeful journey. Yet the facts could not dampen the spirit of the Bengal nationalism. The nationalists took the oath that they will prepare to respond to any and recall on the nation when it would reach them. Their vow was not barely followed as the future of the movement proved that the Mahayana-dominated movement established a number of provisional parallel governments during the Queen India movement, being lead for what was might come. The net result of the movement, which was a solution, was the reopening of the Mahishya community. The movement made the Mahishya a well-knit community. It made the community coherent, secure, culturally advanced, politically agile. As a result, the Mahis felt proud of their caste and also of their social status. The crystallization of Mahishya caste pride made a great impact on the political mobilization in Midnapur, of which Midnapur played a leading role in the national movement of the period from 1921 to 1940. Thank you. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Thank you, sir. And now the paper is open to take questions. Now you can ask questions. Is there anyone with a question? Is there anyone with a question? I think there is no question, sir, on your paper. Now, with this lecture, this technical session comes to an end, and we will meet once again at 3:30 p.m. sharp. We will meet today at 3:30 p.m. sharp with our second technical session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Please stay with us. We are meeting today once again at 3:30 p.m. with our second technical session. Thank you.